And that's it. The recording button hit, and we've got Mr. Hoddinott with us all the way from Australia. G'day.
Good evening on it. G'day, mate. It's Monday evening here, so nice to speak to you on Monday morning in London.
Yep, absolutely.
Or well, in your case, in Scotland, of course.
That's right. Yes, yeah. Yes. Well, actually, I'm shacked up at the dude's studio.
Oh, sorry, in LA,
because he's got this wonderful bar here with fresh coffee. In fact, he never drank coffee, did he? That was one thing he said he hated was coffee. He was a strange fellow, wasn't he? The dude.
That's what made him special. So, and you've got Abbey Road in the background there, with the boys walking across the pedestrian crossing. I've walked across there.
Yeah.
The actual Abbey Road studios are just down the road in front of that Volkswagen on the left-hand side. And I probably told you this story before. I'm going to do a bit of havering here just to keep you under control.
Keep it in the keeping.
That road that you see behind the Beatles there, right immediately in front, is an actual tiny little roundabout with some sort of monument in it, and that's where that photo's been taken.
Yeah.
And so when you go down there, you see all these tourists there. It's a really busy road, that Abbey Road.
Yeah.
And the tourists are just sort of lining up to cross over and cross back and cross over and cross back. And you can see the disgust on the drivers of cars and buses. And they're all trying to mimic the Beatles thing. So it's quite funny. And it's only you'll appreciate this, Paul. It's only about a 5 or 10 minute walk from there to Lord's cricket ground.
Yeah.
So also in St John's Wood, or St John's Wood Station is close by. So
yeah. I've never been to Lord's cricket ground, but I've driven past it a couple of times.
Yeah.
But I must go in sometime.
It's very nice. I've been on a tour there. You get to go up in the long room and see the tiny little ashes in the urn. So just a nip glass. Yeah, so.
Well, it was just somebody that was so annoyed at England losing to Australia that he burnt a bale and then put an advert in the newspaper advertising the death of English cricket because they lost to Australia.
That's right. Don't you love tradition?
Oh yes, yeah.
Anyway, that's my havering moment.
Yeah,
okay, so.
yeah. I was speaking to somebody the other day. I can't quite remember who it was, but I think it might have been Jerome that was on about the fact that he would love to do like a sort of mock court about Stephen's case, and he said Mark would be the ideal judge, and I said no way. Judge Wilfox is the worst judge you've ever come across.
That's right. Yes. It's really really quite difficult to be that bad, I'll tell you that. So,
well, one wonders who is worse, Fox or Willis.
I think in terms of their independence of the judiciary, I think they're just as bad as each other. Mm-hmm. And their inability or willingness to call out what was going on was embarrassing and a disgrace. I don't know them as men. I'm sure as men and family men, they're probably fine gentlemen.
Yes.
But when you put on your robe and you swear to uphold the law, there's a much higher duty of care there, and I don't think they got anywhere near it.
Yeah. So. For me, I think Jerome Fox just pips Willis by the fact that he allowed he denied the suppression of Brendan's confession, and I think that's that set the ball rolling, didn't it? Once you started heading in one direction, you cannot seem to deviate off that, and it was doomed from then on, wasn't it? I mean, exactly. Judge Jerome Fox must have heard, that who shot her in the head? Oh, he did. When he's 20 guesses as to what happened. He must surely have thought, this boy doesn't know what's going on.
No, and a really proper, true judge would have allowed the court to hear irrespective of what the parties allegedly agreed,
Yes.
would have allowed the court to hear the end of Brendan's
Yeah.
so-called confession.
Hmm.
To consent to that not being played was just a dereliction of his higher duties, of judiciary duties, and I could
Yeah.
never really forgive him for that. So, yeah.
I mean, outside of America, and by the way, I'm sure you're desperate to get back flying again. When was the last time you visited Steve?
Over a year ago,
Exactly.
13 months ago,
Yeah.
13, nearly 14 months ago. In fact, as I said on numerous occasions, I am the very last person to have visited him.
Yeah.
Because not long after I was there, the whole COVID thing started, like within a few days, and then they locked the prisons down. So hopefully they'll open them up to visitors sometime soon, but I think it's probably a few months away.
Yeah.
Well, and hopefully I will be, or I will perpetually be the last visitor. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
So other than Kathleen Zellner, as she greets him at the gate to walk him out there.
Yeah.
So,
as I say, just getting back to that, the business of the fact that here, outside of America, we look at what happened, and as I say, the fact that Judge Fox allowed Brendan's confession to come into court, and we think, well, there's no way that would have been allowed in any other country. But you know what? At times when you look at some of the other cases, you think, well, it's just as bad. I mean, we've got this Luke Mitchell case. In Australia, you had that the Chamberlain. Yeah.
Lindy Chamberlain, yeah. Lindy Chamberlain, yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the Lindy Chamberlain one was 35 years ago now. So
yeah, and it was overturned, and she was compensated.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a very ugly time in Australian legal history, that's for sure. And a lot of which was exacerbated by a fairly narrow-minded view of the Australian public, judging people who are different as being guilty. Just because you're different doesn't either make you guilty, nor does it mean you have a lesser entitlement to justice.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's certainly what we saw with Steve and Brendan, don't we? I mean, we've seen
correct.
the contrast between, you go to Manitowoc City, and as I've said to so many people in and around Manitowoc, I thought the place was absolutely wonderful. The people are so friendly, they're so polite, courteous, helpful. And you're just struck by the difference between, a sort of well-to-do Manitowoc City, and then you go to the salvage yard, and it's a junkyard, and the perception is that that it's a different class of people. but reality, I think more than any of us is completely not what the perception is.
Yeah, I mean, we're all human beings. That's what we are, and we all should be caring about each other in the best way we can. Just because life didn't offer you up some fancy house and a flash car doesn't mean you're less of a human being, or you're less capable of loving and caring and being kind to others.
Yep.
When people start to understand that being compassionate and caring is really the primary thing of any human, then a lot of these things can be overcome. That doesn't mean there aren't bad people out there, and there are ways of dealing with those. But to diminish someone's entitlement to justice, and in Stephen and Brendan's case, the presumption of innocence, because in someone else's mind, someone else's privileged mind, that they were expendable and didn't matter, is a terrible indictment on the human condition. And despite Wisconsin physically being beautiful and the people being generally really lovely, and I enjoy going there irrespective of the Avery Dassey matter, we all need to have a really good look at ourselves and look at our societal frameworks and say, is this what we want? Because for the grace of God, we could have been raised and born in a poor family, financially I'm referring to, not emotionally, but a poor family. And, we could easily be in that situation. We need to understand this is not something that's incapable of being resolved, and it rests all within us all to make sure we behave compassionately in all things. Yeah.
So looking forward to Sunday. Well, it's at midnight for you, going into, it's basically the early hours of Monday morning till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Your
Yeah.
studio number 4, yours is the one with the biggest bar.
That's right.
And
Studio 4 sounds like a nightclub.
it does,
Studio
doesn't it?
4.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Well, the whole idea of that was just to, rather than talking about each individual's channel, which is what we're talking about. I felt the idea of each of us having our own studio, and that's where people can go to check out the both the hosts and the guests. And I've had a sneaky privileged look at your hopeful guest list, and it's pretty good, isn't it? It's looking very good. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, I believe I'm interviewing Ken Kratz. Is that right? Oh no. Sorry.
That's who we've got lined up for you.
That's right. I wish I was a funny guy and had all that comedic talent and could dress up and sort of pretend to be someone like that. I really admire people who do that, who can play those roles. He's got a lot of elements to him that you could have some fun with, so,
well, I always remember that parody of him sitting down with the kids at the nursery school and reading a nursery story and completely changing the narrative of it.
That's so good. I don't know. Yeah,
I think it was the wolf and the three little pigs and the wolf that he read, and or was it Peter Pan? No, that was it. It was Peter Pan, and Hook wasn't the evil person that everybody thought he was. It was Peter Pan that was evil.
That's right.
Brilliantly done.
Yeah.
Brilliantly done.
Yeah,
yep.
Very clever.
Well, I think the dude was definitely into that kind of stuff, didn't he? He loved parodies.
Yeah. I mean, you can learn. I mean, without disrespecting people, it's a medium of communication to use comedy, and so it's just such a clever thing to do. I really admire people who have that ability to do that. So,
well, it was you that introduced us to Carl Barron.
Oh yes.
And when I mentioned his name to Charlie Berens, thinking that Charlie would go, who?
Yeah.
He just said that guy's a legend. So Charlie Berens knows Carl Barron, but it is very, very funny, the Carl Barron stuff, and we've laughed. I've had it on a few times on the loudspeaker here, and being out in the garden, and Eunice and I have laughed at some of the stuff it comes out with.
Yeah, it's very, and that's who you see. That's who he is.
Yeah,
he is just this knockabout bloke who was a roof tiler.
Yep,
and turned to comedy, and comes from humble beginnings in Queensland, and he's very intelligent man. I find most comedians are extremely intelligent.
Oh yeah,
there, and very, very, very intuitive. That's what he is. So
yeah, what has impressed me is very, very well rehearsed. He knows exactly what he's doing, and everything is well rehearsed. But it's interesting, that, isn't it? I've just thought, one of the things that we had discussed with the dude was, what he would do if his YouTube channel continued to grow. Would he continue being an installer of high tech home technology, and he actually mentioned that he would have liked to have become possibly an investigator, a private investigator, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah, he'd be good at that.
Yeah,
he'd be really good at that. Although I don't know what would happen with his Dr. Pepper. It would be kind of actually, we could call him Detective Pepper.
Yeah,
that's right. My dear Richard, I miss him dearly. He's,
yeah,
and of course, the whole presentation that's going to happen this coming weekend is centered on him. And the Richard McAdam Advocacy Foundation, which is a foundation set up to promote other people to speak out in a respectful and thoughtful way, and we're going to be seeking donations to the foundation over the course of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And just to remind people, because there is a website for it, TM, RM,
TR.
TRMAF,
Yeah.
.org.
Yeah.
That the form of the foundation takes scholarships, and the scholarships comes in two components. One is some physical communication tools such as the green screen, microphone, camera, and lighting.
I've seen some of the toys that people get, and absolutely brilliant. Sherry sent me a picture.
Yeah, and also some mentoring assistance.
Yes.
And for most people it'll be both, but some it might be just the mentoring because perhaps they've already got all the other stuff as well.
Yeah.
So we think it's a great piece of respect for Richard and the wonderful work that he has done, and people like you and me, Paul, are on these channels because of him.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's lots to talk about over the course of those 12, nearly 13, I hear 14, who knows how many. I call this the Havering 12-hour weekend, right? It's, yeah. So, so 12 hours is 14 hours in Scotland, right?
Yes,
so
could be longer. It could be even longer.
That's right. So I hope your schedules are towards the end, because otherwise we'll all be running late if you start off. So
I'm going to be first up. I'm going to kick things off, sort of introduce the thing, at midnight your time, and then at the moment the plan is to kick off, then to have the hour gap when Sandra Lane goes live to talk about the Luke Mitchell case, and then back on again for an hour, then yourself, and then things get a bit fuzzy after that. But no, it's all coming together great. And we've got, for example, Johnny Jack Ripper at the very end to finish off, because obviously he was the one that inspired the dude,
Johnny was a great person to finish it off.
Yep.
I really like listening to him. So yeah.
The thing that always makes me laugh when I think about in Australia was we went to Melbourne Zoo, and you said to me, look at this, Paul. Look what he's doing. We've come here to see. Well, you finish off the story.
Well, I hope I get the story right, but he's flown, half a world to come to Australia, right? Get down to Melbourne, and we said we wanted to go to the football. We said, no, we'll go to the Melbourne Zoo to see some Australian animals, because that's why you're in Australia. And you might recall, due to some haste with getting the banner put together, we didn't go to the local zoo in my area, which is a shame, which is actually a dedicated sort of Australiana type zoo. But anyway, so we went to the Melbourne Zoo, and we're wandering around, and we sort of lose Richard for a moment, and you and I are looking at the wombats and the kangaroos, and what's Richard doing? He's over there photographing a giraffe or something. I think, go Rich.
Oh dear. And I still remember the look on your face when the security guards came and spoke to the dude and Stacey, and you were like edging further and further away across the seats, as if not to do with me.
Oh yeah, this is at the footy. So.
Yeah, and when I came back with the drinks, it's like, because I'd seen some security guards going to that entrance, Imagine if they'd have been arrested. That would have been brilliant. But in actual fact, they were very good. They just said, "Can we see what it says?" And they realised there was nothing, derogatory in the message. It was just a banner, and they just said, "Look, you're not allowed to do that." I think the dude offered one of the security guards his card, which he declined. But Stacey offered one to his, and he took the card.
Yeah. Ever a moment for marketing, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because the banner and the cards were all born in Australia, so they have an Australian heritage now.
They do.
So so it was remarkable what we packed in such a short period, in such a short period of time, and it
was I mean, I think it would be fair to say that myself, the dude, and Stacey all said, "Oh my goodness, you know, we're going all these places. We would have quite happily stayed at your place longer because they just loved it, didn't they? You know?
Yeah.
Well, we
we
all loved it.
We probably would have been very drunk if we stayed at my place. So yeah, no, it was good times.
Well,
so I'm
some of us got rather drunk with furfers at the Palisade.
Oh, that's right. But that was just, trying to do the right thing by supporting the local economy, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So yeah. So, but I'm looking forward to the weekend, the broadcast. So no doubt there'll be more stuff coming from you as the week unfolds, and
you know, I'm still getting in touch with people, and even just last night, I contacted TikTok Manitrock to invite him to come on and have a chat, and he sort of said, you know, well, I'll decline at the moment, you know, because that was a one-off that he did in the first one, but he said, look, send me some stuff, and I'll tweet it out and advertise it, and that's exactly what he's done. So I put together a little music video today of all the hosts, so all 12 hosts are on this little video, so that everybody knows who's all involved in this. And you know, I've been doing a series of these videos with the various hosts as well, you know, so that we can you know, get to see who everybody is. I think most people within the community know the various people, and you know, the hosts and the channels, but yeah, it's still going to be as you say, it's going to be a good time is going to be had by all. And yeah, we're just looking forward to Sunday. And yeah, I'm keeping quite busy with doing these videos. In fact, tonight I've got a 6 o'clock. I've scheduled a chat with let's say the author of the book Blind Injustice, Mark Godsey. So
yeah, no, that'd be great.
You know, yeah. So some of it will be live on the day. Some of it might be pre-recorded videos, but I think it's I think it's come together pretty nicely. You know,
and thank you for everything you're doing, Paul. I mean,
well, it's an absolute pleasure, you know, to just you know, and I don't mean this in a nasty way, but sometimes you can have too many people trying to organize things, and it just becomes you know, a bit disorganized. But you know, hopefully this will be a sort of annual event that we'll do for the dude, you know.
exactly.
And who knows, you know, in next year or the year after, we'll have as guests, you know, we'll have Steve and Brendan as guests, you know.
I think we'd probably have them as hosts. What do you reckon?
Yes, yeah, I think they should apply for the advocacy.
Steve could interview, you know, Judge Willis. Brendan could interview Len Kaczynski. You know.
Yep.
You know, and say, Len, did you or did you not be a dickhead when you were my, you know? Oh no, that's not the expression. It's the expression is, are you sorry or not for being a D-head in my defence? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be the question.
An option of one or two. Did you do it by accident, or did you do it on purpose because that's how you are all the time?
Yeah.
It's funny how we can laugh about it, isn't it? But it's not that.
Yeah. No.
Funny, but I suppose we've just got to, you know, we've got to keep going. And just one final thing: thoughts on the latest development with the Kathleen Zellner's filing.
To be honest, have we seen what the state responded? I know they responded.
Not yet. No, it's due today. It's due because they filed, you know, or they sent a. I think they were posting a response, and obviously they've acted very quickly because I suspect that with it being the Court of Appeals that they're dealing with, they could just decide straight away, you know, and apparently that, you know, the state want there to have a say in it, you know.
Yeah.
Not
well,
that
sorry. Well, just to give you a quick response, you know, anything that assists in creating reasonable doubt is a good thing. And so this gentleman, he's Sawalski or whatever his name is. Forgive me, I've forgotten his name.
Yep.
He's come forward. He's come forward to Kathleen Zellner, and that's been put in an affidavit and filed. So
yeah,
she's no fool. She would have done her homework on verifying, the credibility of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the fact that we may not have all the answers doesn't mean there's anything of doubt about it. But anyway,
no.
I mean, time will show us, right?
I mean, once again, as with the the 1995-96 phone call, as with so many other things involving Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department, it just adds to the list of things that they just turned a blind eye to, pretend that doesn't exist and not investigate. I mean, it was like the dude's video about Zander Road.
Yeah.
Irrespective of whether it had any evidentiary value, there was no follow-up. There was no sort of, well, that's important. That's on the day somebody's reporting this foul smell and the cattle being freaked out.
Yeah.
And it's not even, they don't even bother with that.
Yeah, no, that's just culpable negligence as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they have a duty way beyond anything else to thoroughly investigate everything. So anyway, that'll have its moment, clear moment in due course. Yeah. I mean, my view, my disappointing thing is, where are the good cops? I mean, obviously most cops are competent and good in their role. But where are the ones calling them out, the bad ones?
They don't, because it's the good cops that are afraid of the bad ones, isn't it?
Yeah. Therein lies a basic fundamental flaw where people don't feel comfortable in doing that. So anyway, we'll see.
Well,
good to talk to you, Paul.
And you have an enjoyable evening, and we will see you. We'll see you, if not before, we'll see you on Sunday.
You will indeed. All the best, mate.
No, we'll speak before. Cheers, mate.
Okay.
Bye.
See you, mate. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.